Greetings, Commanders. This is Commander Ruff live from the Strategic Tritium Logistics Center's player group and squadron. I'm sure you've all seen a fleet carrier jump before. I just thought I'd add it for dramatic effect. Quick disclaimer in the beginning, I have no intention of becoming a YouTuber, so also my videos will just be unedited. As you might hear, I'm a little rusty in my voice. I'm just still recovering from flu or cold or something. So now, what we're looking at today is a bit of introduction to what we're doing here as on this expedition Go West that was so nicely shouted out at the Burr Pit, and for me to make a little make some videos about what we're doing and how we're doing it is perhaps long overdue, but here we go. So the idea is let's look a little bit, just a little history. So where all this is coming from is actually the STAR initiative, which you will find on FCOC server, the Fleet Carrier Owners Club, where the FCOC, the DSSA, the Fuel Rats, and the Hull Seals came together to start what was called the STAR initiative. And the intention of the STAR initiative was to, similar to the DSSA, which is the Deep Space something array. Sorry, I didn't know that. But anyhow, similar to the DSSA, the STAR initiative sends carriers out into the void and deploys them as stationary kind of outposts, depots in particular, for Tritium, so that commanders who are exploring the void or going expeditions would be able to purchase Tritium out in the void rather than having to mine themselves, given that mining big quantities of Tritium does require quite a bit of effort. So if you want big quantities, then definitely it's good to get that somehow supplied from the bubble. And if you have the money for it, because obviously hauling Tritium out and selling it comes at a cost, so prices from STAR initiative depots will be rather high. These days most commanders are filthy rich, so that should not be an issue. Anyhow, the STAR initiative then provides, I'm just reading up, provide Tritium in remote locations via depots, so that's one of the purposes, but also to rescue carriers and commanders stuck in deep space, because the STAR initiative has commanders who are plenty experienced with fleet carrier traveling in the void. That's kind of like another thing we can do. Also support the deployment and retirement of strategically important carriers such as DSA or STAR depots. So now, this is where we're coming from. If we have a look at the ED Astro, I'm actually going to take first a look at the STAR carriers. So the STAR carriers are situated around like this. You'll see the red markers indicate low reserves. Blue indicates that resupply is pending, meaning somebody is heading out there to resupply this depot. Now, how this works is then, okay, so in order to do something like a full resupply of a carrier that's way out there, say the Beagle Point, you would need 3 to 4 carriers traveling out there, so as to have, in order to cover the fuel cost of traveling out there and still be able to resupply, to deliver the full supply. You actually need kind of three or four carriers worth of Tritium to go out there. Hence the pricing out in the void, but that's also a rather big project. And not all commanders have 3 or 4 alts, or are able to kind of coordinate enough commanders. It becomes a big project. So one of the things we started to look at in STLC was the feasibility of using tritium mining for our own fuel, meaning we would be able to deliver a full load with a single carrier mining for our own fuel. And as we started looking at that, we discovered what a difference it can be between a good hotspot and other hotspots. And we've started mapping these, and that's where we have this layer. Our first route was bubble to emerald tablets, the SSA emerald tablet, which is also Star Depot up here. We did that with 2,000 light year intervals, so as to kind of be able to quickly mine. But we found that traveling at 2,000 light year intervals was cumbersome for the carrier, because it just meant a lot of stops. And we found that a better interval would be 6,000 light years. So that's what we've been doing here, and we will be cleaning this up a little bit. We'll keep the hotspots that are good, but we're going to clean this up so that the ones that are not so-called official highway hotspots will be marked in white instead, so that visually it'll be a little cleaner. To hammer down a little further on that idea, if we look at the typical configuration of a carrier that does resupply missions for Star, will have refuel, repair, armory. You need that in order to save yourself if you do happen to be needing a little mining and that kind of stuff. And since these far out missions in particular are spectacular exploration missions, at least I travel with Universal Cartographics and Vista Genomics, and then I can just enjoy the way back. That leaves us with a cargo capacity of 23,830 tons. That is typically also a full resupply, because Star Depots will have these services available for commanders in the void. Now, a carrier traveling with this service configuration will have a used capacity of 1,170 on the carrier. And if we look at how far can you travel with that, let's see. For example, going from Seoul to Colonia with this setup, you will find that if we look at the tank is over here. So here there's roughly 1,000 tons left in the tank, and with that you can travel 6,500 light years with the carrier on just the tank. And this is kind of how we ended up with the 6,000 light years, so that a commander only has to worry about kind of filling the tank between waypoints. Going back then to the map, so right, say you're heading out here, you're full in the bubble, you will arrive at your first waypoint 6,000 light years out. Obviously heading out, you're going to have used more than the 1,000, so you're going to need a little more mining heading out if you want to still have the full resupply. But going back from the outer at the outer waypoint, you only need to fill your tank, and you know for sure that you can make it to the next waypoint, refill your tank, make it to the next. And we found that traveling this way, you do not need to retain tritium in the cargo so as to enable your return trip. So anyhow, that's the overall thinking. Sorry for talking your ear off. As mentioned, I will not be editing this. I just wanted to kind of present the overall idea of what a tritium highway is and how we use it. The intention is for the STAR initiative, but obviously we're hoping that this will also be useful for other commanders traveling in the void. A little bit about the plans ahead. So this is what we've already done. We'll be cleaning this up a little bit. Currently we're heading out this way. We called that go west, which I guess is technically not accurate because it's more like northwest, but anyhow, we're heading towards the west of what we've already done. So we'll be going up here, mapping out a new highway. On this particular expedition, we will then go a little bit up along the outer arm, which we call it, and go back down to kind of clean up this mess that is our first highway. We will also test and verify some hotspot candidates that are between Colonia and the bubble. Yes, there is the Colonia bridge, but it's often unreliable and has not much supply. So commanders who want kind of a reliable way to make it up and down between bubble and Colonia should be able to use these mining hotspots for that purpose, unless they just buy the stuff in the bubble, which is perfectly doable. But on your return trips, you will find that tritium in Colonia is rather pricey, so we're hoping to take the pressure off of those depots a little bit, and enable, you know, a cheaper way of traveling. Anyhow, commanders, I think I've talked enough. I'll get back with some tutorials and some other things that, like that, but that'll be next time around. So like and subscribe if you feel like it, and we'll get back to it. Cheers! 07.